day for a neighbor, would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I have always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you please, please won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah, be my neighbor. My neighbor. Good morning, guys. It is Wednesday, hump day. Hump day, hump day. This is Unfiltered and Unaffected on TrevorRocksDenver.com. I slip that every time. Oh, man. Matt has stepped away for a while. He is dealing with some things down at the new bar and some other professional issues that he has going on right now. So he will be away from the show. I don't know how long. Indefinitely. We're supposed to have my good friend, Mr. Bo Reynolds, in this morning. He is he's running behind. Something must have come up with him. I saw him last night, but he said he would be coming in. But we do have, wait, let's do this. We do have these guys in studio.
He's like, who are these guys?
Who? Wait, let's not cover your face with my face. Here, we can do this.
Oh.
Look, I'll go down there.
Hey,
it's Mr. Davey B.
what's happening, everybody?
And his Jaceball accommodating friend.
This is Smalls, everybody.
Ew.
Smalls obviously is trying to hide from the microphone. He's got it turned away from him. He's sitting back.
He thought he was just driving me in, more or less.
So what we've decided to do is put Smalls on camera today and hang out with him and ask uncomfortable questions, so he has to use a microphone. He's an East Coast friend.
That is.
Now, let's talk about the Jaceball tour first off.
Yeah.
He drove did he fly out?
Smalls flew out in May for that Novus comeback show right here at Cheers.
Right.
And drove my car, or the Civic that I bought. I bought a second car at some point.
Because
I'm so ballin'.
Why wouldn't you?
Right. That was during the Man Cave era. You were there.
Right.
Well, I rented it to Calvin after his car got stolen. And
his car got stolen?
Yeah, that's how he started driving my car in the first place. Like a week after I bought my car, his car got stolen. And I was like, oh, use my other car.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just, I've been using it for rentals and stuff like that. Smalls comes out quite frequently when I have like a lot of good shows lumped together.
Right.
So I asked him to come out for this one, and we kind of concocted this idea of him driving the car back to Boston in plans of a future road trip to go out back to Denver. And I knew he was coming back again in late September because the Red Sox are here in town right now, and we're diehard Red Sox fans,
right,
as massholes are.
Right.
So we kind of started looking at that, and I started looking at the dates. Oh, there you go. We started looking at the dates backwards and kind of trying to route a tour of sorts backwards based on where there were baseball games. Not necessarily with the Sox because,
you can't follow the Sox because they bounce across the country.
Sure, and they're going to stick somewhere for 3 days, like it's not like they go somewhere else every day. But there was a game every day tracing it backwards. And so we made this plan. He flew out in May, checked out the Nova show, and drove my car back. And then a week or so ago, I flew out there and we drove back. But we ended up with an unexpected guy who was not in the original plan. But when I started telling Jace about it, Jace of Lost Point,
right,
that I was going to be gone for a lot of September and why and this and that. He's like, man, that sounds really cool. I'd like to go on a road trip, this and that, and this and that and the next thing. So I kind of sold it to him on he should come along and it'd be a lot of fun and whatnot. We're going to go Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and whatnot, so that was a big selling point, and he ended up coming with as well, and we all had a blast. It was a pretty awesome experience, so I'm really glad we did it.
And it was how many days?
It was...
From once you left Boston.
Yeah, it was 9 days. We took in 8 games, that includes tonight, in 7 cities. 9 days, 8 games, 7 cities.
9 days, 8 games, 7 cities. That's not a bad little run.
No, so it was pretty busy. I mean, Tuesday night we started in Boston, last Tuesday, and stayed at Smalls' place. And then the next day we had to go to Philadelphia, which is what, like 5.5 hours, something like that?
Something like that, yep.
We drove past New York City, which is cool. I'd never really taken it from that way. And I like seeing New York City from a good, safe distance, you know,
right.
over a bridge. But going over the George Washington was pretty cool. The Philly game was cool. We went and got cheesesteaks.
Of course.
We had to. I mean, like, you feel like you got to. We got hosed. I guess, like, the 2 legendary places are right there next to each other.
Uh-huh.
And we chose the one with all the bells, whistles, and flashy lights and stuff, and we chose wrong.
You should have gone to the Davey one.
Uh-huh. Jace,
You know that.
It was a dumb move on our
You
part.
know that.
I should know that. Jace ended up being wicked hungry and went to the other one, too, to verify, and, yeah, we guessed
And the
wrong.
winner was next door.
We guessed wrong, yeah.
I'm going back through Jace's page right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the first video. You guys did a series of videos.
Yeah, the good ones ended up on Facebook, and there's a bunch on YouTube as well, on Jace's personal page. Yeah, one of the videos we ended up taking in Philadelphia. So we're sitting there eating cheesesteaks, and I'm watching these kids, 5 of them, play some street ball. And I'm like, man, I haven't shot in a while, but I feel like I could play. I kind of want to play.
I still have it?
I kind of want to play in Philly right now, you know? And I'm wearing jeans and Vans and, you know, got a ponytail and whatnot.
Right.
So they'd never seen anyone like me walk in the court quite like that. But we played a little threes with these guys, and
Yeah.
there's some video of it. It's kind of hilarious.
Nice. The first one I think I'm finding is September 16th.
September 16th.
That's Jaceball Tour, Campfire Vendetta, Something Gone Wrong.
Oh, that's the day before we left. Okay, so that's still in Massachusetts jamming. We were kind of helping each other finish songs
Okay.
on our free time.
Should we start there?
Sure, let's check it out.
Hang on.
What's up, y'all? It's Davey B and Jace here on the Jaceball tour over at Smalls' house, and it is Monday, September 16th, and today was one of our off days in terms of games, so we spent a lot of time with cajon and guitars and kind of both. Fortunately, we were able to help each other kind of advance like a half a song that we both had in mind.
Is this
And
your
this
family's
is
house?
Campfire This is at Smalls' house,
Oh, very
actually.
nice.
Today.
He just nods.
And we tentatively call the thing Something Gone Wrong, but let's see.
You lied to me last night and told me you couldn't play guitar.
Oh, falls apart soon enough, I think. We taught Jace how to play cajon. He's kind of good.
And you gave him gloves to protect his soft hands. Yeah, I knew there was an end in there.
It's coming eventually.
When you start...
right.
Yeah.
This is the skeleton of, it hopefully becomes a campfire song for the next record.
Which would be record number 3.
Yeah, and it's actually the last one I plan to do with Campfire that way anyway. There's some talk of changing things all around, but I wanted to do 3 10-song records that are all written similarly, and they even have the same artwork, just different color schemes and everything. It's,
right.
But Campfire will go on, but yeah, it's going to reshape after that, but it's also been very slow going getting all the material together for Campfire.
What do you mean
3.
reshape?
I'd like to go electric, and I think if we
What?
I think I'd like to do like some full-on pop punk things and change some things around. But I don't know how it would pan out. I mean, it might just be a random thought right now.
I thought the whole idea for Campfire
Yeah.
was they could be done at a campfire.
Yeah, that's the other. Yeah, well, it's cool that you can always strip it back, And Campfire's played shows like I have a Campfire show Friday. A Campfire show, I say with quotations because it's just me. I've done shows with just myself and Aaron, just myself and Van.
When it's just you, isn't it Davey B acoustic?
Sometimes, or like, it looks cooler on paper if I'm Campfire Vendetta. It's like Dashboard Confessional face. You show up and it's just him, and you're like, oh, all right, I guess. But no, it's always been wide open. We've played as 1, 2, 3, and 4 members in all different arrangements and lineups, and so it could kind of do anything. But there's a couple other players I'd like to involve at some point and see what they could bring to it in electric format. Maybe it just becomes a thing where we do it 3 or 4 times a year as like a special show, but that'd be fun. I'd like to try it. But there's definitely going to be one more full length.
What you need to do is just add another piece of a project. Just any old piece will do. So just taking Campfire and expanding it, because you don't have enough going on right now as it is.
Oh man, I'm a busy guy, that's for sure.
So right now you're running with Lost Point.
Yep, playing bass with Lost Point. We got
Gravity Lies.
Gravity Lies, yeah, going strong there and working on a full length that'll hopefully be out in the next couple months.
90% 90s.
Yep, playing as many cover gigs as we can with a 3-piece gig with Tony from Nemesis and Scott from Glass Delirium.
And Captain Planet.
Yes, same guys, and then you add Rob from Cirrus and Jace from Lost Point when we get asked to do electric cover shows.
And Campfire.
Campfire, slowly writing material for Campfire 3 and then thinking about the next big thing, yes.
And also winding down Novus Folium.
Yep, Novus Folium has its final schedule booked. The big one is this Saturday at Summit Music Hall with Resonance, proud singers of Won't You Be My Neighbor.
That's right, the intro song.
Right, so Resonance.
Danny recorded that for us when he was like deathly ill.
Yeah.
He had like a sinus thing, congestion going on, so it even makes it sound darker than it was.
Yeah, it's a little creepier than even his normal tone.
Yeah.
A Verse to the End is on it, Staring at Shipwrecks. So we put some young bands on the lineup.
Very
which
cool.
Is, we haven't done in a while.
A little
so.
hand up.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool, and they're excited to play it, and that's a good feeling. But yeah, things are winding down. We also have we're playing with the National Boy Hits Car, if you remember them from years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to be around at Herman's in November, and then we're just trying to lock up our New Year's show, probably back in Longmont, in our home turf kind of
Yeah.
thing. So.
Longmont got hit hard.
Yeah, parts of it got nailed by the flooding, man. It was
Yeah.
so
Were you
bizarre.
gone?
No, I was here, and it was so strange, man, because, I mean, I'm, like, looking at footage of things going on in Longmont, and yet all my friends were in good spots, it seemed like, or were fine. And then I'm looking, where I was in Broomfield was fine, and I'm looking at footage of bridges collapsing in Broomfield and things like that, and it was just so strange how the pockets of towns got nailed.
Yeah, it was surreal for me in that I live in Westminster, just down the road from you, and we had rainy days.
Yeah.
We just had basically rainy days.
Yeah.
Like to a point where you're like, wow, that's a lot of rain.
Yeah.
My kids live in Longmont. Now they live in way northeast Longmont, up off Pace and like.
That where like Van is and where B Norman
Yeah,
Studios are.
right over there, over there.
Yeah.
It was rainy at their house.
And
then on Friday of the flooding time, we took the Tahoe and said, let's go get the kids because they have intermittent power issues and some things going on, and they're worried about the water supply. So we took the Tahoe and drove up, but I drove up 287. But you couldn't get through Longmont that way unless you'd lived there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they had it basically blocked off both directions so you couldn't go north-south through the town.
Like Main Street, 287?
Yeah.
Okay.
287 Main Street was
become the same
closed.
thing, yeah.
Main Street was closed. All of everything going to the west, moving west, going north to south was closed. Obviously, unless you'd lived there for long enough that you knew kind of the sneaky little back ways around through town. But it took us like 40 minutes to pick through town. And we ended up all the way to the west side of town off Hover, and then picking our way all the way back east of Longmont and having to come up Road 5 to 66 and then coming back around. But we started at 287.
That's a huge loop.
Yeah, at Pike.
Yeah.
and ended up all the way on the west end of town, then all the way back on the east end of town. It was crazy. Well, we went and snatched up the kids and we saw so much of the devastation just picking our way through. Kanemoto Park was just destroyed. It eroded underneath the pool.
Wow.
Yeah, and that the creek that runs through there was ridiculous. There were power lines hanging out.
That seemed to be where it was. It was all the pockets around bodies of water just got ruined.
Yeah. And they just did that big renovation up Quebec next to the river that runs through there. And they just finished that project, and it's destroyed. All the walking bridges torn apart. Damn. Yeah, it was crazy. It's hard to imagine that there's still that devastation that close to us.
Yeah.
Because we're right back to normal, living in our world.
Yeah.
Everything here is just regular.
I played a show in the middle of those days, and I assumed it would be canceled for sure, and I drove down, and it was
down here, no problem, yeah.
It's crazy. But, and then Brian sent us a video at some point of things outside his folks' house of, like, hail one day that was out of control.
Yeah, a couple days after the big flooding, there were storms down south, more in the Denver, South Denver area, and they got like a foot of hail in their yards.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Again, in Westminster, it was rainy.
Yeah, same thing.
Nothing.
The apartments were fine up in Broomfield.
Yeah, we drove. I have some issues from it. From all the rain, we found out that the roof in the studio leaks really bad. If you look up, we're missing some tiles. And we got, like all
some hard water stuff.
Yeah. And those tiles, and that tile fell. We had Michael Braha's professional glass blower in the other day.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like, he had like $2,000 pieces of glass that he'd blown on the table. And see the broken tile? Fell right next to the table. I peed.
Yeah.
I was like,
you're about to be the proud new owner of a bag of broken glass.
Yeah.
Really pretty broken glass.
Oh, man, I was freaking out. But it went off. We did okay. I still got it keeps falling, so it's all over the floor in here.
I'm sure that someone's going to call one of us soon about a benefit kind of thing. And sure
I know that the Dickens Opera House.
They're already working
Paul Dyer's working on a show. It's going to be I think Sunday, October the 6th.
Okay.
It's called Bridges Over Boulder County or something like that. Hazel Miller's playing.
Oh, okay.
I think Chris Daniels is playing.
They're already going to pack the thing then, huh?
It should be a big deal up there. It's a $20 show. All the proceeds are going to the Longmont Community Foundation, which is kind of the hub for taking care of people in the town.
Good deal.
They have partnered up with the Left Hand Brewery and their Text to Donate program.
Oh, okay.
So they're all working together. So get a hold of Paul Dyer up there at the Opera House. And I know that a bunch of bands are going up and playing and selling merch and donating some. And they're doing
Yeah,
a bunch
I got a
of
bunch
auction
of
stuff.
CDs I could throw their way, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
So, yeah, I know that's going on up in Longmont. He hit me up about it, so I said I would try to share
Ooh,
that out.
Novus has a bunch of merch, too. We should get up at that.
Yeah.
We actually have a mega Novus fan that I met through Novus having a wedding that day that we're all invited to.
Really?
So we'll be at that. You know Jeeves? You probably don't know
Oh,
who he
yeah.
is. But yeah, the
Yeah,
big
with the mohawk.
kid. Yeah. It's his wedding October 6th. So I'll have to see what time we can get down there. But yeah, I'd like Novus to make an appearance at that
Yeah.
if we can.
Well, you know Paul, so just get a hold of
Yeah.
him. I'm sure he'd love to have you guys on board in any capacity whatsoever.
Yeah, it'd be good for us.
Back to Jaceball.
Yes.
The next video I have is heading to Fenway Park.
Okay.
And this is a very familiar scene to me. This is awesome. Let's play this one.
Oop.
Well, but we don't have any sound. But we do have sound, but we don't have sound. Oh, you know why?
We're at Faneuil Hall and Quincy Market are, and we are basically doing half the Freedom Trail backwards. We're going back towards the beginning, which starts right here at the park. So we're in Boston Commons. We walk by the Frog Pond, and yeah, it's just a beautiful day out here, Tuesday on the Common, and take a look around, man. It's beautiful.
And if you're unfamiliar, the Common is where everything kind of happens.
Yeah, it's the
It's like
center-
our Civic Center Park.
Yeah, there's a bunch of T-stops close by, a bunch of the touristy areas right down there, a bunch of the financial
So
districts.
the next plan is to walk over to Legal Seafoods and eat some of the finest seafood you'll find in the city. And then we'll probably catch a tee back towards the general direction of the car and get ready for the Sox game tonight. Game 1 of the trip, so having fun in Boston.
There we go. That's more of the beginning of the trip.
Man, we ended up with crazy seats to that game. I didn't realize how close they were, but we were able to touch Pesky Pole.
Really?
Yes, we have photos of both of us touching Pesky Pole. It's awesome.
Oh man. You know, I've never in my life been that close.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. We were just like in shock.
Yeah, I've never. Yeah.
I kicked over a $9 beer. I almost cried.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
Even though Fenway's one of those places that you have to go and see a game, no matter what. You just need to go. There's a ghost opening the door. Once you get in there, you realize how dilapidated and just junked out Fenway is.
Yeah. Now, when's the last time you were there?
2008, maybe?
Okay.
2008, 2009.
They've put some work in, but there's no hiding the fact that it's a 100-year-old building.
And the seats, you don't realize how small.
They were built for body
They were-
types of 1912.
Yeah.
You know,
When
people were a
you
lot
sit
smaller.
down, you know, when you go to Coors Field, you know, even a bigger guy like you could sit there comfortably,
Oh yeah,
you know,
I've sat
legs
next to
slightly
Calvin
apart.
at
Yeah.
a Coors Field and no issue.
Yeah, and then you go to Fenway, and a guy my size, and I'm not a very big guy. I'm 5'8", 180 pounds.
Yeah.
Both of my hips are basically touching the seat on both sides.
Oh, you're in a plane all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's tiny. And I mean, outside and around the stadium, it looks so awesome because it's old. It was built in 1912. You know, and you look over from the Green Monster, and you see all the banners across the street that they're hanging out, and
Oh, yeah.
it just looks so cool. And then you stop and look around, and you go, "Oh wow, there's nothing high tech about these seats."
No.
Yeah.
No, it's very old school. I was thinking that as well too. Just kind of the approach is all different. You know, when we went to some of these other stadiums, and I'll get into it later, like, you know, they were showing a player's name, his stats, and his Twitter handle.
Yeah.
And like, that's unheard of at Fenway.
No.
Like, there's no need. Ain't
No.
nobody got time for that.
There
You
isn't
know,
even
like,
names on the back of the jerseys.
right? You know, it's like, but they did put up a huge board, though. And I never thought that they would have room for such a thing, but it's awesome. It was really impressive.
Where'd they put it?
It's
Right field, kind of?
It's kind of like right center-ish, kind of. And I'm trying to think of how that works.
So
but it's like up on the
left
top.
of the green monster.
Yeah, definitely. On the other side.
On the other
like halfway
side.
through. And it's up on the back, so it's not in anybody's line of vision.
So it's above the back of the stands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because the park's pretty small. It's like a great view of it. And it's a huge video board, too.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that before, and I was like, whoa. It was kind of a shock to see them with some actual technology, but
And how the seats are laid back so flat.
yeah.
Not like a modern stadium where they raise it up as quick as possible so they can get the most amount of seats in.
Yeah. It's also one of the few places where you can get a seat behind a pole, you know?
Yeah, you get an obstructed view seat.
Yeah, people don't even know what that is anymore, but before they had thought everything through back in the day, you just put seats anywhere there was room for a seat.
Yeah, you just
including
built it.
behind a massive metal beam where it was completely impossible to see.
You saw nothing. Yeah, they sell them as
Obstructed view.
obstructed
And they're
view
cheap.
seating.
They're
Yeah,
cheaper. I mean,
because basically you stand up in the alleyway behind and watch the game.
Yeah.
Because if you sit in your seat, you might as well watch it at home.
and not being able to see a Sox game at Fenway still costs more than having a great seat at Coors. So it's
Yeah.
strange to people, but no, we got great seats and we're right on the foul pole. However, it's impossible for them to win when I'm around, so that was a
Oh.
bummer. I'm on a terrible streak. I think they've lost like the last 8 games I've been to, which is almost mathematically bad.
Last night,
Oh yeah, they lost.
they lost handily to the Rockies last night.
Mm-hmm.
8-3, right?
Yeah, that was the
not good.
final.
Yeah, not good.
They only put up those other 2 runs because we left in the middle of the 8th, and then they scored 2
They
runs.
scored 2 runs just to make it look good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, that wasn't a pretty game.
Yeah. No, they never are when I'm there.
So the rest of us would just appreciate you staying away.
Yeah.
You can
I mean,
watch ESPN later.
I
You
don't
can't-
go to
need-
playoff games.
I don't need you to watch it on TV even.
I'm not going to any playoff games, that's for
No,
sure.
God. Could you
Not when it
imagine?
matters.
We'll make you wear a T-shirt and people will kill you.
All right.
So the next trip looks like you're heading to Philly.
Yep.
And
Philly
the
was the
next
next
video.
destination for Wednesday. Let's see what we got here.
Everybody, oh, there you go. What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday morning. I suppose day 2, kind of technically, of the trip. Went to that Sox game last night. Unfortunately, they blew it in the 8th. So that was a bummer. But show goes on. Got up early and left Massachusetts. We're in about southern Connecticut right about now. On I-95, and pretty soon we'll be cutting into New York, and we're staying in New Jersey tonight, actually. It's very close to Philadelphia, where the hotel is in New Jersey, but it's technically in New Jersey. So we got like 140 more miles probably until the hotel. We'll check in, and it's about another 10 miles over to the stadium or less. So, yep, kicking it in Connecticut.
It's a lot of truck stop stretching.
Yeah.
as you go on.
If you haven't done the East Coast thing, I mean, the city stops are very close together, and Connecticut is like the suburb of the world.
Mm.
There's like nothing going on in Connecticut except for the suburbs.
Nope.
It's basically between Massachusetts and New York, New Jersey. It's like where people live.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's entirely true. And then there's probably like 3 or 4 things in the entire state that are worthwhile.
Yeah, it's
ESPN being one of them.
right, but you don't
What are the
UConn.
other 2?
UConn. And doesn't the WWF run out of Connecticut?
They sure do.
That'd be it.
and those are just buildings.
Yeah, those are large buildings.
There's nothing to go see really.
No. But yeah, Connecticut. It's all toll roads. That's another thing that's foreign to folks out here.
Yeah.
It's all toll roads, so you don't exit the highway. They build plazas for you to blow additional monies at right then and there. And they just put like restaurants and gas stations and convenience stores into these plazas where you don't actually exit the highway completely.
Right. You don't want to exit.
No, exiting means you're paying them to exit, and then
And then you're going to pay them to get back on.
right after you stop somewhere to get food or
Right.
pay. It's just pay all the time.
And that's the whole East Coast, though, up and down.
Oh, you pay to drive, you pay to stop driving, you know,
Yeah.
you pay to turn around. You know, like that's just how it is.
Parking, you pay.
Oh yes, parking is a very valuable commodity in a city like Boston or New York.
Yeah.
Like you rent a spot and it's your spot.
I saw a news article a couple weeks ago. A guy bought a parking space in New York for $300,000.
So he bought it permanent, like forever.
Yeah, but it has a $25,000 a month maintenance fee.
Oh my God. You know, like it's just baffling. You know?
Why would you own a car if it's going to cost you $25,000 a month just to park it?
You could probably pay the subway system at that point and just pick you up at your house and just
Yeah.
like, reroute things to your
At
house.
$25,000 a month, you could have a car service.
Yeah, that's bizarre. That's much.
You could write a check for a car service, probably for less than half of that for a month.
Yeah, that's insane. But I definitely remember like in Boston being able to rent a spot for the year for say like, you know, $400
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was your spot. But
And it was a lot of that was people who owned a home or owned
It's a
an
spot in front
apartment,
of their house.
right? Or owned an apartment in a building, and they had a parking spot but didn't have a vehicle. They had an assigned parking spot with that property.
oh, that's a huge score. It's like
Yeah.
having an extra room to rent.
Yeah, you rent out your parking space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you're smart, you don't have a car and you hope that
No.
everything's on a T route.
Well, and the T in Boston is not. It goes everywhere. It's way
Yes.
better than the transit system in Denver by far.
If you can deal with the passengers, the T is very handy.
Yeah. I wish that more Colorado people would go see how public transportation works on the East Coast, because so many less people would drive in Colorado if we had the transit system of the East Coast.
Yeah.
The trains, the subways, everything that's going on over there, you can get everywhere you need to be rather quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas out here, if you live north of town, you have to take a bus. There's no train system at all.
There's also way less like drunk driving and things like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
These trains run till like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So that you can like stumble onto it when the bars close, and all you need to have is your wits relatively about you to
get off the right
at your
place.
spot.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, no, there's a lot of good things that it does. That's for sure. So yeah, and it's surprising somewhere as green and conscious to that kind of stuff as
Right.
Colorado is. Hasn't got on that yet, but it's also not really cheap to start from scratch.
And
either, so.
it's amazing to me to think back with as new as Denver is in comparison, and knowing that mass transit works on the East Coast, when we built the city,
Yeah.
how do we just now getting the light rail
Yeah. No, it's
and having to retrofit it into our city?
it is surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some room for it, I guess, to expand upon. But yeah, maybe that is the thing. Maybe it is the structure of things that they can't mess with it from what they built.
Yeah. Well, they didn't think ahead,
No.
and
Well, step one's got to be building something to the airport. I mean, it's crazy that the airport's so far away, and more so that there's no hotels anywhere near the
it's
airport.
even more amazing that they built a light rail going to Golden before they built a light
Yeah.
rail going to DIA.
Yeah. Like, for what? Was Pete Kors the funder of this project? Like, 'cause,
Is that just to me? That's somewhat shocking.
yeah.
I know
that's
that
bizarre.
their intention is to build it going up 70 to the mountains,
Yeah.
so they want that revenue. But at the same time, it would have been easy to flat track it out to DIA.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the least inhabited area that they're going to build in.
It seems like the obvious spots that, would be, something that goes up I-70 to the mountains, something that goes out to DIA, something that runs like a stadium route through the city.
Yeah.
Trying to think
Something
of what else.
north I-25.
Yeah, something that runs like a shot up to
Fort
that
Collins
splits at
even.
some point where one train goes to Boulder and one goes to Fort Collins,
Yeah.
Something down to the Springs maybe. That seems like the obvious hubs for it, Start small, just a straight Denver to there,
Yeah.
but
Who knows?
we'll see.
We do stupid stuff here.
A little bit.
We do a lot of stupid stuff. I think this is you, Davey B, playing that pickup basketball game.
Okay.
All these videos are completely unvetted. I'll just say that now. It's only 20 seconds long. Maybe.
Davey B's playing
Street ball.
Whoa, what the happened? What the? Let's see if this one works.
One of these things is not like the other.
Davey B's playing street ball in Philadelphia.
Oh, this way y'all come in, huh?
Oh my. Did you touch the ball?
I did, actually. I had an okay game. I missed a couple shots I would have liked to have back. But I think I proved my point.
Yeah?
Whitey can play a little bit. A little bit.
There's you guys touching the pesky pole.
Oh,
Pesky's pole, sorry.
the photo thereof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
pretty
pretty
cool
awesome.
for us. That was pretty neat.
If it'll pull up, I'll get it up.
Oh, there we
There
go.
you go.
Yeah, we couldn't believe how close we were.
Yeah, that shit just doesn't happen.
And they must wash that thing every day or something. All those autographs were from the last week. They were
Really?
updated. They must wash it once a week. Or
Oh, they
something.
must go through and scrub it or just lay a coat of paint over it.
Yeah.
That's
But,
interesting. You would think that they'd leave.
Yeah, because I was ready to. I was scouring it, looking for the old ones, and the old ones were from August 30th.
You're, oh,
Fair enough.
not that impressive.
But so yeah, Philly. We messed up on the cheesesteak game, played a little ball in the hood, and then went to the Phillies game. That was kind of a joke because the Phillies are long since out of it. They're playing the Marlins, who should be contracted,
Right.
frankly. So it wasn't much of a game. But Citizens Bank, it's a beautiful ballpark. I think Jace's camera died. I don't think we have any footage of it, but it's a nice looking park. We didn't even go to our seats. We had crap seats, so we just stood and walked around. Great scene.
Just tickets to get in.
Yeah, we'd got at StubHub $8 seats,
Mm-hmm.
once they were out of the playoffs. So, yeah, Philly was pretty cool. And then, we technically stayed in New Jersey that night, and we stayed in a lot of dump hotels. I expedited out at the cheapest hotels within 10 miles of the ballpark kind of thing. So we stayed in some garbage places, but Philadelphia was halfway decent. And then, let's see, the next morning we would have left for Pittsburgh pretty bright and early. Pittsburgh was unbelievable. Really cool vibe.
Really?
The stadium was stunning. It's got the river running
Yeah.
right behind it. Wasn't a bad seat in the house. They have their first winning team in 20 years.
Right.
So the vibe was
But the city
bubbling.
is shit, though.
Where we were, right downtown, where all their cool stuff's packed together, was all right, and we
Right.
didn't really go exploring
Oh.
beyond it. So we weren't in
I lived
steel
in
mill
Cleveland
territory.
for a while, and Pittsburgh was just a fucking dump.
I was prepared for it to be god
Yeah.
awful. The park area and that bridge, the 6th Street Bridge where
Yeah.
we were, is the prettiest thing I've seen in some time though. There should be a video maybe of us playing on the bridge. The bright idea was to go to all these parks and jam, but it's not always possible. Sometimes people like the Red Sox or the Rockies own all the property immediately surrounding the park, and it's private property, and you can't just hobo it up out there. Or
They don't let you busker at all?
not really.
Because at
we
Coors
got
Field,
kicked out of Coors Field right after we played outside. We played a corporate event that was tied in with the Rockies.
yeah,
Moved 100 feet down the way, Jason and I, after just coming off stage for their event, and got halfway through a song before some dude in purple came running in and was like, "Oh no, shut it down."
that's weird because the trumpet guy plays down there all the time.
Yeah, he's either got an in or he knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah, the trumpet guy plays down right across the street from Coors Field all the time.
Oh yeah, I hooked trumpet guy up just last night.
Yeah.
For as much as I asked for tips, I gotta have good tip karma, as I said to Smalls. So
Sure.
we gotta help this guy out. But the park in Pittsburgh was unbelievable. The vibe was great. Really pretty place, and they smashed San Diego, of course. It was a day game. It was the first day game of the trip.
So it was a day drunk.
A little bit. I was still hurting from Philadelphia probably at that point. But we went and grabbed our stuff again and jammed on the bridge that everyone had to walk by.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
We've got video of that.
Yeah, we got to hand out some CDs and Jace sang some songs and stuff. Here we are.
This is you on cajon and Jace on guitar.
Yeah.
Was that change I just heard?
I think so. It could be me kicking the tambourine too.
Right. No, it sounded different. Now, how was the reaction?
A lot of smiles and people nodding, and there's always curiosity about the cajon. Not as many dollars as I would have liked to have seen. A lot of head nod and people generally into it,
But quickly dismissing the fact that...
our case was sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't think that much, but we got a couple dancers here and there.
Is Jace wearing a Phillies hat?
Yeah, we got him to buy a hat. We went to all the pro shop things, and he got one with like the MLB logo on the front
Yeah.
and just the Phillies thing on the back. It's pretty sweet.
That's why he didn't make any money in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That and you're wearing a Red Sox. Now, I'm not being judgmental, but if I were walking by, you two look like a couple of homeless guys.
But we're talented hobos. I mean,
Right.
I'm more inclined to give a hobo with a talent $1 than just a guy with a sign.
Because you're scrubbed out.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Jace is pretty.
Yeah, we definitely look like hobos during any of the day games, for sure.
You guys love to end with those.
There was a lot of that going on.
That's good stuff.
But it was fun. I was glad we did it. You know, it was
Yeah.
cool to just say, hey, we jammed on that bridge one time.
Well, I mean, I think every guy our age who is a sports fan, especially a baseball fan, has always at one point in their life talked about doing a baseball tour.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just take off for like 2 weeks and just go to every baseball stadium we can and just see games and hang out, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
That sounds awesome. And now it's, I mean, now it's, well, let me talk to my wife. and see.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be able to do that.
She said no.
Yeah.
No,
She said it's not in the budget right now.
That was a huge driving factor. I turned 30 this year, and I was like, I'm trying to do this. Because I'd thought about it in years past, but it never worked out. And this year I was like, I'm just going to book it. It's happening. you
Yeah.
know? So,
And you have a lady at home
uh-huh. Yes, I do.
and a child.
The little Brady bunch. Yes, our fuzzy child. We do
Yeah.
have a miniature dachshund, which I never liked small dogs, but she's awesome. So
I've never once been a fan of small dogs.
she's a handful, though.
Yeah. My mom just recently got a rat mutt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but it's got Jack Russell because it has a little beardy thing.
Uh-huh.
And it's only it's a foot tall at best and weighs like 6 pounds.
Yeah.
And for 6 pounds, it's the most annoying 6 pounds of anything ever.
Yeah.
Because
no.
they're fast and they can get up on everything. So if you're sitting on the couch, it just like runs around the living room, runs up one side of the couch, across your body, down the other side of the couch, across the room. And I'm like,
For what, right?
yeah.
No, I felt bad for Brady when I met her. That's kind of how we ended up there.
Oh,
a little bit.
She was a pity?
Yeah, a little bit.
A pity dog?
I was also kind of hammered. Imagine that.
No.
It was Thanksgiving. I hadn't met Cassie's parents, my girlfriend's parents, and we drove, her mom and husband. So we drove up there. They had a litter of all these little yippy, ugly dogs. and they're running around like crazy fools. Well, the dinner ends up going really well and really smooth, so that was great. I was in a good mood. Start getting my buzz on, that helps too.
Right.
And then the Patriots were playing the Jets, and if you recall, they scored that like 4 touchdowns in 2 minutes or something stupid like that. So I was in a very happy place. And all these crazy little dogs are running around, except Brady. Brady, for one, is cute as a button, and she's looking at me, and she was like dead silent and still, and she's looking up at me like, you got to get me out of here, man. You know, like this is awesome.
Was it a litter of puppies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was like, I think she was the runt. I think she was the last one. She was just not feeling it. And so she cuddled right up to me, and they were like, you can have her if you want. You know, they just added 6 dogs to their roster.
Yeah.
You know, so
you were like,
I was like, this is really the only dog that we could get away with in the house. And of course, Cassie's like, can we keep her? Can we please? And I'm like, well, as I'm watching my Patriots game, can we call her Brady? And that was a deal breaker, and she said yes, so we ended up with little Brady. Yeah.
And Brady is friends on Facebook with Jake the Wonder Dog.
Yep, fan.
Who's my mutt, half boxer, half pit, maybe something else in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm normally a boxer guy by trade. That's my...
Yeah, and Jake is equally as pain in the ass as any little dog.
Yeah.
Because he thinks we're a pack, and he's part of the pack. So if we're sitting on the couch, a lot of times I will sit on the end of the couch, and then Kristen will lay up the couch with her head on my lap when we're watching TV, and Jake, like, slowly puts one paw on the couch, puts the other paw on the couch, and then doesn't jump, just eases his back. And then pretty soon I'm laying here, Kristen's laying with her head on my lap, and Jake is laying behind her with his head like tucked in behind my back, like we're all supposed to be in this little tiny space. And he does the same thing in our bed at night. Mm-hmm. He'll have half the bed, and then Kristen and I will have half the bed.
Territory war, yeah.
Yeah, he does weird stuff. And he blitzkriegs through our house. Like,
oh, yeah, the occasional rampage where they just...
Yeah, well, he'll be in our bedroom, and he'll run out of our bedroom, down the hall into the living room, bank turn up the couch to turn around, and then back into the bedroom, over the bed, back down through the hall, and just like 4 or 5 times, and you're just like...
Spaz out.
Dude, what the hell just happened?
Oh, yeah.
Or sometimes he'll run straight down the hall as fast as he can, and he'll jump and hit the couch sideways, poof, and just bounce off of it as his turnaround.
Brady's been fighting the mirror lately.
Oh,
she'll get pissed off.
You got
at
to
the mirror.
videotape that.
She'll start growling and like swinging at it. And then finally, one day she pushed it hard enough that it came back. And it's like a 6-foot tall mirror. But it didn't break, but she got it to land, and that freaked her out. And then she's like walking on it, stamping on it.
Where's that dog?
Yeah, I know you're in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jake plays fetch with himself.
That's cool. That's convenient.
If you give him like a bone or something, he'll like, you throw it in the living room, and he'll run and pounce on it and look around, and he'll grab it with his mouth, and he'll throw it to the other side of the living room, and then look all surprised like, oh my God, it's over there. And he'll go and pounce on it the other way, and he'll do it like 4 or 5 minutes straight, just throwing it back and forth across and pouncing on it. I'm like, you are the dumbest dog who's ever lived. But at least I don't have to throw the damn bone.
Saving you, yeah.
Yeah. So I did grab a couple topics for today.
Oh yeah.
I figured we could go through a few of these and just see what's going down. I didn't know what would be. I was hoping that Bo would have made it in, but apparently something came up for him this morning, so we're probably not going to see him.
Oh, okay.
This is if it'll load. This is a bear that walked into a bar in Alaska. Watch, it just walks in the front door.
So is this during hours then?
Yeah, they were open.
It looks closed. What is it, the middle of the day or something?
I think it was at night, in the evening. But apparently what happens is the bear just walks in the front door like 4 or 5 feet, and the story reads that the guy just starts yelling at the bear, telling him, you can't come in here. On Monday night, a bear walked into an Alaskan bar. The bartender didn't want the bear in the bar and told the bear, no, bear, get out. No, you can't be in here. and the bear just turned around and left.
They say when you're getting attacked by like mountain lions and stuff, you're supposed to yell and make
Get big and yell?
Yeah. And they'll just like piss off.
I don't know that I would take that chance with a big Alaskan bear.
No. I would have been, I don't know, drinking heavily, I guess. I'm behind the bar.
Right.
That's my best hope.
I would have probably went back door.
I'm choosing the shittiest ones. Marshmallow schnapps.
Yeah, any of the flavored
Yeah.
vodkas go.
Yeah. Raspberry vodka. Here we go.
Yeah, but pretty crazy. The bear just walks in and he yells at it and he leaves, because that could have been ultra destructive.
It sounds like the beginning of some sweet joke, you know?
Right, bear walks into a bar.
In Alaska.
And what do you think about the super politically correct direction that society is going? You can't say anything about it offends everybody. It seems like every newscaster gets fired for saying, what at the time is completely meant as a joke. Do you think we as a society have lost the understanding of, I'm not being offensive, it's just a joke? Or do you think that we finally caught up with, it's not funny?
That's interesting. I don't know, because I think sometimes some of it is pretty funny, I think it's such a fine line these days in terms of what is and what isn't. I mean, it's not that hard to be sensitive to anything, that's easy, to
Right.
take
We could be
something-
offended at easily offended at any point.
Right, it definitely affects me, like with all my personal stuff and like all the professional stuff representing the bands and different things. I definitely need to
See, I
choose
can't even
carefully.
imagine, because you work in a professional environment. You have a real, like a grown-up job.
Uh-huh.
And then on top of it, you're in the rock scene, and you're fully a rock star often.
Yeah.
And by that I mean close to falling off stage at times.
Sure. And the lips get loose and different
Right, you
things.
say things and you have a microphone.
Yeah, but 9 to 5, man, I gotta watch myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's tough to differentiate, like.
And it's got to bleed over every once in a while.
A little bit. I pick my spots.
Or someone walks in and goes, "Oh, I know that guy."
Yeah, that's happened before too.
And you've got the hair pulled back and you're trying to represent.
Yeah, I'm almost trying to pretend I'm not that guy.
Shirt and tie on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine. This is a newscaster on CNBC. And they were talking about rubles, I think. I think it's rubles. It's money from India.
Okay.
And the guy, man, he's trying to hold himself back, and for some reason, he just
It's
can't.
too good.
He can't do it. And so you got to listen to the whole
I think I
clip.
have rupees. I think I have rupees in my wallet right now.
From your trip?
No, I think I honestly do from the last time I was in India.
Really?
Yeah, I think I might. Hold on.
You got a rupee in your wallet.
I think I do.
That sounds a little,
You gotta be kidding. There is the rupee chart.
I think.
Just in case you're wondering where the rupee is. The dollar had been soaring. Look what happened when we said we're gonna keep pumping.
I do.
a rupee.
Becky's got a rupee in her wallet.
50s. Here's a 50 and a 10.
How much are those worth? Do we know?
I don't remember.
Look at
One's
Gandhi.
worth 10 and one's worth 50. What do you mean?
Gandhi's on the rupee.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh,
Not surprised.
is it
Right?
Gandhi?
Yeah.
Is this Gandhi? No, I
Yeah,
can't make
do.
any jokes about that. I mean, do they
Reserve
take...
Bank of India is marked
I
right on
can't do it.
see?
I
You
was
can't.
gonna say
Please
something.
don't. Let's go.
I really can't.
No, you can't.
Are they good at 7-Eleven?
Oh, stop.
All right, I won't. Let's look at the... people may say that all the time, right? Oh, you're nervous.
They do. They do say that
They
all
do.
the time.
They say it all the time. Look,
Salty.
I've heard that
I did.
before.
All right. I'm sorry. I take it back. I apologize before I have to. Anyway.
I apologize before I have to.
Oh, I think he was about right on time with that one.
Which
Yeah, but I wouldn't have said it like that because
Now
everyone
it's-
knows what he's talking about. In a day, he was going to come out with I realized my comments were grossly insensitive to the
right, which
Indian
now he
persons."
probably has to apologize for his apology.
Or they just cut him loose.
impressive,
That's the
huh?
crazy
More
stuff,
than
man.
likely, that guy loses a job
These cats
over
are losing
what could
jobs.
be, in my world, and the problem is, I'm not Indian.
Yeah. No. Like...
I'm Irish. I mean, really? We've had Irish jokes since we came to America.
Yeah. No, everyone's got their set of jokes. I don't think it's not funny because it's offensive. I think it's not funny because it's like, oh yeah, good one.
Yeah. It
Never.
wasn't funny because he wasn't original.
Yeah, you know, like, come on, the Apu and kind of 7-Eleven.
Yeah, we're going to go with the 7-Eleven
gas
Arab
station
joke.
kind of
Yeah.
routine, you know, stereotype.
Which is the natural first level joke.
Yeah, it's very, you know, this is some elementary racist joke, bro.
Right.
Step your game up if
Yeah,
you're,
I mean,
going
if
to
you're
get fired.
And that's my question. If you're going to do it, I mean, do you
Don't
need,
waste it on 7-Eleven joke.
don't go first level joke.
No, aim for the moon.
You got to hit like
I don't even know what that would be.
3
like,
deep on it somehow.
I guess if you're going to go all out, yeah, leave no one left standing.
Okay, but my next question would be, how is it that that's offensive and unacceptable, but we have Abu on The Simpsons, which is a complete stereotype,
Mm-hmm.
which they completely make fun of and mock the culture,
Mm-hmm.
and that's acceptable. But a guy
think
making
it's
the
just
same
'cause
joke,
Because, well, for one, the other problem is people just accept the news as fact, you know, so it's like supposed to be like this super upright professional and everything that they say is legit, which is not right. Anyway, you know, like
Right.
they forget that it's an agenda like any other show. They're trying to move you from point A to point B, usually in the interest of buying shit, but, you know, that's a separate thing. But I don't know. I think when it's presented in the format of, you know, the whole thing's a joke, the whole thing is comedy, you can push it a lot further, you know.
is that like comedians getting the
'Cause-
wide berth card? Because if
'Cause
you buy a
comedians can
ticket
do
and
it
you
too.
go see a comedian, he can make jokes about anything.
Right. And it's kind of...
I mean, let's go all the way back. Dane Cook made a joke about the Aurora theater shooting like a day after.
Ooh, Jesus.
That is
But you
kinda
can do
his
that.
shtick, though.
Yeah, he does. He does make the bad joke early.
Yeah, you know, like there's a market for that. You know,
But-
people want to hear that to some extent.
For as long as I can remember, comedians got the free pass.
Yeah.
You know, they could make the racial joke, they could make the sexist joke, they could make, but in recent times, Kramer, what's his name?
Oh, Cosmo, yeah.
Remember he had that blow up, that racial blow up in a theater on stage, lost his shit and huge backlash
Yeah.
where he had to come out and have my publicist says that I'm
Yeah,
very
right.
sorry for the
I'm not
remarks that
supposed
I
to read
made.
that part.
Oh, I'm going to back off of that. And then we just recently had it again. I'm trying to remember who it was. If someone on the East Coast did it. And then Dave Chappelle just had a little tirade where he went off on some people. I think it was in Connecticut, because they wanted him to do all of his old, Charlie Murphy and, all of his old stick from the Chappelle show. And he was working new material.
Yeah.
And he said some pretty edgy shit, and about them being white.
Yeah.
And I think now it's finally caught up because I think black comedians for even a longer period of time got an even wider berth.
Yeah. No. And that was...
They could fully be racist against white people, and that made their jokes funnier.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. And I think that there was a lot of white people who liked it because it almost eased some inner
Right.
white
They're
guilt.
like,
They're like,
yeah.
hit us again.
He got us. Woo.
That's so true.
Now we can hang out and have a Colt 45.
I am like that a little bit. No,
I did think that about you when I saw you in the alley.
I would be sad if comedians lost that, actually.
See, and I think that they need to have pretty much carte blanche. If you're buying a ticket or
That's the
you're
other
watching
thing.
the show, if you walk into the theater, you're walking into their artistic space.
I agree. I mean, it's you're making the effort to purchase a ticket, drive to whatever venue, like take it in like you usually, which means you usually know something about the comedian.
Now,
you know.
what about YouTube? Because everybody's act ends up on YouTube.
But you got to go look for it on YouTube.
Someone's got to post it, like you got to find it too. I mean, I think it's...
Ha ha ha, Davey, this is so funny. I'm going to put it on your Facebook wall.
Yeah.
Now you've been exposed to it.
Yeah.
And you did not ask or invite it.
That's true.
Now, can you be offended by the comedian, or should you be offended by your friend
Yeah. Jeez.
who then put it in, in your space?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I hadn't even thought about the possibility of I can only imagine some of my backstage rants or antics, you know, like
Yeah.
getting put on in a public spot where I wouldn't want them to be.
Downstairs at Herman's.
You know, anything that goes on down there. But, wow, I hadn't thought about that. But, yeah, there's something about it when it's on, like, a basic cable in front of your face, you know, that was always supposed to be, like, clean and crispy, you know, like, even, you know, and then shows kind of pushed the bar as they went and have run into all kinds of trouble since. But the news is still considered, like, supposed to be just black and white, the facts,
Well,
you know.
that's what the news was established as, was a non-biased reporting of the facts.
And I guess that's not even the news. That's what, like a money market watch show or something,
But it's still news.
more or less.
It's still news.
Something your parents watch that you don't want to watch.
Right. But the news hasn't been non-biased reporting of the facts in as
Yeah.
long as I've ever watched the news.
As much as you and I believe that to be true, I don't think that that's accepted as universally as
Yeah.
it should
I mean,
be.
you can watch, you know, the Fox Sports or Fox News has an agenda.
Yeah.
MSNBC has an agenda.
Mhm.
CNN has an agenda, and you can tell if they're Democrat or they're Republican just by watching 5 minutes of a show and watching which way the stories tilt, because all the stories will tilt one way.
Sure.
And I'm trying to think. Al Jazeera, it seems like, is one of the very few news outlets that are pretty down the middle. Like, they could give a shit about either side.
Yeah. Well, I was in college during the first, not the first one, but the last time we were messing with Iraq pretty seriously.
Mhm.
And one of the things that my current events teacher was doing, we were taking all our news from like French sites, and
Yeah.
Russian sites, and that were so much more neutral.
Even
on-
BBC News.
on what was going on.
When you watch a news report on something that happens in America on American news and then go search it on BBC, ooh.
Yeah, no, it's a huge perspective change, you know. I mean, so we were following a lot of the war reports, like from other countries' stuff, and it was fascinating
Yeah.
to watch the differences. You know, it's just, I haven't really gone compared stuff since then, but man, it was definitely an eye opener for sure.
I search all the trashy news sites and just half-assed news for stories to talk about on the air.
Uh-huh.
But I go to Al Jazeera for a lot and see how they report it.
Yeah.
Because it's probably even closer to the truth.
Yeah. It's just crazy that all these super pros are, it's like they all forgot about what the root of journalism was supposed to
Right.
be all about.
Yeah.
Because journalism at its root is really not that much fun, you know, like doing
No.
the news and spinning stories of this fun. you
Yeah,
know,
that's
you
a
know.
craft.
Yeah, that's fun, you know, like real journalism is hard and it's tough and there's a lot of
To
people that don't
actually
like it.
to actually vet a story, get the facts from both sides, report them as equal, facts reported, vetting your sources.
Yeah. That's it. And no
How
one
is
will tell you
TMZ a
anything anymore.
source?
Oh, God.
How is TMZ a source?
No one will tell you anything anymore either. They won't put their name on it. You know, as
Right.
we used to say,
Put
you
your
know,
name on it.
Everyone just wants to be anonymous source on condition of anonymity. You know, all these, you know, because of whatever. I mean, you shouldn't even be able to run with that stuff. You know?
No.
I mean, back in the day, it was like you didn't, you couldn't.
You had to have two credible sources
That's what's
before
called
you.
a rumor.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
back in the day, an anonymous source was something that you used to start you off, not something that you used to
Right. Then you
release about.
started to investigate.
Yeah, now the story ends with an anonymous
source, yeah.
Well, we heard that Von Miller tried to spill his pea cup, and that's
Right.
what happened, says a guy.
And it says a guy who knew a guy. Well,
Right.
now we have new sources that say that he had a collector in his pocket
Right. Or,
who
you
was
know, says a
gathering
guy.
samples for him.
Mhm.
Says it, yeah.
I mean, there's no... people just run with that stuff. You know, I read a lot of sports stories. ESPN is as guilty of that stuff as anybody.
Oh, yeah.
They can't... I mean, as soon as
Well, because
anybody
they have to be
might have
first.
breathed about it...
They have to be first. They've got to report it, and they.
Oh, it's hyper
and
competitive, the sports
news agencies don't have a problem recanting now.
Mhm.
Before, it was almost a slap in the face. They felt like they
It was
had
embarrassment.
failed if they had to recant anything.
Oh, it's huge embarrassment.
And now they just report everything, and then at the end of the story, at the end of the news hour, we'll save a minute and go, okay, reported about this. We've heard later in the same hour that that's not true.
Yeah, they'll even say it like that in a way that
Yeah.
kinda doesn't. Well, it was news at the time, and then
Then it
the
changed.
news changed.
There's I think it's an HBO show called Newsroom. think that's what it's called. And it's very interesting in that it's obviously a drama. It's written, but it shows a lot of the old news stylings. You know, we want to be first, but you got to have two credible sources. It has to be verified by two credible sources before we can put it on the air. You know, and they're all waiting, trying to get that other second source and trying to beat the other networks out with it. You know, and they've got an unconfirmed source. Can we go with it? No, you can't go. You know, and they've got to be the first to announce. And now anymore, I think, I mean, even the news stations, the local news stations don't even cover the news. They let the public cover the news.
Yeah.
I mean,
send us your tweets and your pictures. And
at the beginning or end of every news broadcast, it's, did you see news happening? Send us your video.
Yeah.
Send us your, you know, and that's where they get anything anymore. It's pretty lazy.
Yeah, no, it's wild what they've been able to get away with. And like you're saying, it's just finish first and apologize later. You know, if you're wrong.
I have a good friend in the local media. She's done a bunch of national stuff. Tamara Banks. Mm-hmm. She's one of the old school journalists.
Yeah. Where
she will actually be a journalist and write and do the story, and it'll take her. You know, and a lot of the time what the problem is for her is it'll take her a month to put together a story.
Yeah.
Because she's actually doing the research and vetting it, and everybody else is beating her out with a version of the story. So she almost gets pushed. It seems like her story can get pushed off because it's so much later, because it has to be right now news, because we have the internet. They break into anything with a news story. You know, before the news was at 10 o'clock. And then it was at 5 a.m., noon, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock,
right,
10 o'clock. You know, because they have to be on the air with it right now. Because if the news, if you're in a normal channel and your news only goes off at 10 o'clock at night, everybody's beating you to everything.
Sure.
And it's got to be news every day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. So if you have a story you've been working on for a month and anyone's done anything on it, you're almost. And people go, oh, you're just now catching up to that?
It's old news, right?
Yeah, you're just now catching up to that? No, I worked the story.
It's actual news.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a bunch of leads into different pieces of the story. You know?
Yeah. I watch the news every night as I'm going to bed, just to kind of see what they're reporting on, to see. A lot of times I watch what they're reporting on to figure out what they're not reporting on.
Yeah.
You know, why did this happen because of that? But I don't know. I'm not sold on it. That's for sure.
I don't really watch any television, to be honest with you. Or I have now Cassie's got our thing hooked up to Netflix.
Yeah.
So I'm only watching previous things and movies and shows and things that have already happened.
So you're way behind everybody?
I had no idea what's going on. But every time I watch live news, I'm just so more and more appalled by what is going on. It's just be afraid, followed up by our next segment of be afraid. You know, people are shooting each other. Flooding is coming to your house. You know,
there's always.
All your bills are going to go up. You know, everything is just fear,
do you think
fear.
That's a big part of why everybody is afraid to do anything or thinks that someone is out to get them all the time, and instead of living their lives? I see so many people living in fear and in negativity.
It's a huge driver of consumerism is what it is, you know.
Well, they forget that we only live for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And they live this large portion of their life, you know, fighting everything and believing that someone's out to get them, and then they wake up and they're 70 and they didn't do any of the things they wanted to do because, oh shit, I was worried about what everybody else was saying.
Yeah, instead of stocking up on experiences, you know, we're stocking up on insurance.
Right.
Make sure bad experiences don't happen to us.
Right.
You know,
yeah, the it might happen so policy of life.
Yeah,
Or you could just fly to Boston, jump in a Honda Civic, and start driving backwards across the country trying to.
You know what could go wrong?
Live out a dream.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
well.
If you sat down with a tablet and divided it in half and said things that could go right and things that could go wrong in going on this trip across, you would have never left.
Oh, no.
You know, starting with...
If we had a pros and cons...
I'm taking 2 weeks off of my job. What if they figure out that they don't need me?
Yeah.
Then I'm gone.
Sure.
You know,
It's
what
an
if
old car with 160,000 miles.
what
on
if the
it.
car breaks down
Mhm.
in Pittsburgh?
What? I got super sick the last day, and that
Yeah.
sucked. Oh my god, that sucked.
You were so close to home you could taste it too.
Oh, and they hosed us, man. Right when we got into, so this is where Sunday day was the last day, and we ate like a Sonic early in the day, and towards the evening we were right next to an Olive Garden, and I started getting crazy heartburn before we even ate dinner, and I don't normally get heartburn, and I only ate like half.
You
my
normally
dinner.
don't even have feelings.
Yeah, especially in the PMs. You know? And I ate some of my food and was just like super full all of a sudden and woke up wicked sick Monday morning. Now this is god awful news because we have the longest part of the trip, Kansas City, Missouri, all the way to Denver.
Which Kansas is 8 hours by itself.
And you're pretty much on the border of Kansas, but yeah, so
Yeah.
we're looking at a solid 8 hours before we get to Colorado.
Which is another 2.5 hours.
And we're gonna stop for an hour for lunch. We're gonna stop a couple gas breaks and stretch breaks. You have to.
So you're 13 hours away.
And I'm 6'5" in the back seat of a Civic with a bunch of luggage.
Right.
Like wanting to puke my brains out, cuddled up.
Guitar
in my room,
cone.
Right. You know, like miserably sick. And I'm just suffering. Every time we stop, I throw up, you know, and start over, you know, and try and fall asleep. These guys are stuck splitting the drive-in because
Right.
I'm out of the mix, you know. So that sucks too. We get into Colorado, and towards the tail end of Kansas, it starts looking like Wizard of Oz. You know, all of a sudden everything's blowing around, and like there was tumbleweeds, and then there's like tumble bushes, like the whole thing.
There's tumble
still
trees.
green, you know, like it
Tall as
flies
the car
by.
is still green rolling across the road.
Wow.
Yeah, it got really gnarly really fast.
Right.
And we're like, okay, this is crazy. We cross into Colorado, and immediately, all of a sudden, there's just orange cone in the middle of the highway. Like, whoa, swerve over. They've routed everyone off of I-70 West to a truck stop. So the whole truck stop is full. I'm puking my face off. There's one bathroom. There's one stall in said one bathroom. And there's like a Denny's and
Are you at,
us and like,
like
60,
Burlington?
70 people. Yeah, exactly.
Arlington, yep.
And we get some Wi-Fi and start doing the CDOT thing and realize that every highway out of that area is closed at the moment. So we're literally grounded, and there's no time frame as to when they're going to open back up. It was like the worst case scenario. The bathroom was so gross, I was going outside to puke in the wind. In like the intense swirling wind.
So you're stuck with 50, 60 people?
Maybe
no.
more eventually.
This is like a sport.
'Cause they
Everybody
keep coming
through
in.
Kansas is getting
Right.
right
So
here.
by the time we left, the place was packed.
It was like sports stadium parking. Like people lined up all going down the street.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they had overflowed all the hotels and restaurants next to them. I never seen anything like it. So finally, we're keeping a close eye on it, and they opened 2 connecting highways south of where we were, and we ended up taking like 50 miles out of the way route to go way down south and make a loop up to Lyman, the long south way.
So you went like through La Junta?
Cheyenne
I don't know
Wells.
where the hell we
Cheyenne
went.
Wells, yeah.
Yeah, we went
turn
south
turn
to
that mic a
Cheyenne.
little bit, Smalls.
Yeah, we went.
Kill me, man.
We went, we went down to Cheyenne Wells and made like this crazy loop, but it was way out of the way. But it was the only thing open, and then we found
And you're still
out-
puking?
I've advanced to the peeing out of my butt phase. So I guess that's a positive. But I'm on the mend. Yeah, but I don't know, something. I swear, Missouri Sonic messed me up.
How could Sonic mess anybody up?
I don't know. They got me.
They done got me, damn it. Oh, that's that. I want to do something like that. I want to do something like just in Colorado, and I can't find the way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of just saying, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Yep. No, that's what
Just
it was.
say, yeah, it's happening. I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to go to like, what is that, the cliff dwellings down in southern Colorado?
Yeah.
It's right next to the sand dunes.
Uh-huh.
What's that?
Not Cave of the
Mesa
Winds,
Verde?
but, okay.
I want to go do like hang out at the sand dunes and check all that out. Then I want to go to Mesa Verde and see the cliff dwellings, and then kind of maybe route back up through somewhere. I can't even figure out like 3 days to do that.
Yeah. No, I planned a lot of it in March, man, and a couple different times I had to stand my ground on it, and I knew things were going to come up. You know, like, my mom wanted me to come home for the holidays, and I was like,
saving my
I'm
time.
doing this, you know, like, and then, Lost Point became involved with Taproot, and it was like, well, the tour might be in the fall, and I was like, I'm doing this, you know, and that was hard, you know, like, I know Nova's trying to rebuild this. I'm doing this right now, you know, like, this is a big deal, you know, like, I had to kind of fight that a few times, you know, a bunch of different gigs came up with the different bands and I knew they were, and I told everyone in advance not to bother, and they still called me because a bunch of sweet gigs came through, and they're like, yeah,
but you don't know, it's this gig.
You know, so.
We need to be.
Yeah, you do have to just commit to just doing it.
Bringing up Novus again for just a moment. It's winding down. There's 2 shows left. Is there any talk of you guys all working together?
I think everyone
You
has
think it's
really
done?
moved on. I mean, it's I think everyone's just over it. It's too bad. I mean, like, Van and I still work together in the capacity of the label, and but he's married and has his little girl was born now. So that's a life changer, you know. Like, things are gonna change for him a little bit for sure.
It seems like Aaron could take it or leave it.
Yeah, Aaron's over it. You know, I think he just does have fun playing with Campfire because it's so much more casual and once in a great while kind of thing.
And it doesn't get in the way of fishing.
Right, you know, it's short gigs and that kind of thing, and he doesn't have to carry all kinds of gear or dress a certain way. Like, Aaron's pretty into music on his own terms, you know, kind of thing. So he's into the Campfire scene, and Matt, I mean, it's hard to stay into drums when you can't play at your house. I mean, he's in an apartment, you know, and the drums are at Van's. I mean, he's got a crazy hard-working day job, and I think he's really invested in going back into some of the flight school stuff that he'd wanted to do years and years ago.
Right.
There's talk of him going to Florida maybe to school down there or something, so I know he's definitely interested and very serious about the flight stuff, so, you know, if that's where his passion is, that's where he should go.
It's so weird to hear this. When I see you guys on stage and it's so electrifying and you're so connected and it just happens.
Yeah.
You know, it explodes. But then to talk to you guys individually, and it's hard for me to accept the fact that you're just all okay with it being done and moving on, and some of you not even really thinking about music anymore.
Yeah. It's wild. No, it's definitely a surprise, and a little bit, and at the same time, I think it's just kind of a testament to how rough things were behind the scenes, like more or less just emotionally, like, you know, I mean, sure, we took a physical toll on each other for sure, like just playing as much as we did and staying as busy as we did, and our travel regimen when we were traveling, but you know, just the stress levels of what we were going through, a lot of contests, a lot of you know, pre-sale kind of stuff that just grinds on you, and then of course not getting along as well. But yet, no matter how much we weren't getting along and had fought all day leading up to a show, that would still happen.
As soon as the show hits.
When the lights came on and those first notes rang out, it was like, all right, now it's on. And, you know, I was proud that we always did that, but it was still, it felt very misleading, you know, like, it was tough for the fans, for me, like, you know, I hate to say it, but like seeing people come up with Novus tattoos and just being like, you know, like,
if you would have called me, I probably
you know, and things like that are tough. You know, you always hoped that we would get through it and keep it going forever, but at the same time, like, the grind of it and what it was becoming was definitely separating people on a passion level as to how serious they were. You know, John was super diehard and was going to do whatever it took to go on.
Yeah.
Aaron very much wanted to do it on his terms, you know, and that's not a thing in big money music,
right?
You know,
you do what you want on our terms,
right? I was kind of in the middle of the two, and kind of like, I'm a dance and wear the monkey suit until I get the money and the know-how,
until I can be in control of my career,
and then I'm going to do it my own way after that. You know, Van was on board, but I think, you know, without trying to be a dick, I think his talent level would have cut him out at some point. I feel like at some point they would have chopped him.
Yeah.
You know, and but we were so dependent on Van. Like, I was Van's biggest supporter, because what we did here couldn't have done any of it without him.
Right.
You know, we were playing at his house. He was
behind the
recording
scenes,
all our
he was.
Oh, he was
the
a
infrastructure
major piece of the puzzle. You know, but you know, when we would go up to the labels, all they would say is he's fat and he can't play it that well, you know, and it's like, you just want to choke these people because they don't know what you've been doing for the last few years. But, you know, he was a diehard and willing to go with it, but I think he probably would have got cut out by the system at some point.
Now, it could be rumor because I hear a lot of things, but I heard that there was a lot of talk about that same thing with Matty.
Yeah, there was times when that came up. You know, I've said before, Matty's not really a natural. He worked his ass off to get as good as he got, you know, and you know, just being in this town, I've seen a handful of drummers that, you know, would outplay him, you know, per se, but
would they outplay him with you guys?
I don't think so.
That's the, you know.
And, you know, it takes a certain skill to work with us because there was a lot of, he was getting pulled in a lot of different directions, you know. He's trying to do what he feels and what's natural, and then, you know, have Aaron, well, this sounds too much like this, or this is super atypical. What about you got to switch this and do that? And someone like John with a real heavy pop sensibility and kind of like, well, I need this part.
I need it to sell because
I need this big piece.
It's got to
like
be
this.
familiar enough that people have heard it, but unique enough that they want to hear more.
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of a perfect storm. It takes a guy in the right spot because it's like at some point you get so good that you won't listen to anybody, you know, kind of thing. Or you're just a sponge, you know, like, or just kind of a lackey. But no, there was times when, you know, there was frustration at times within the group. Everyone probably had a point where we were like, we got to get rid of this guy. Literally everybody. I think that's probably part of being in a band a little bit, just part of it. But yeah, so I guess Matty's situation really wasn't that different than anyone else's per se. But and I think,
see, and I've always been a huge fan of Matty.
Yeah. Matty and I were probably the closest together in terms of like, let's go do this and get as big as we fucking can and then do whatever we want.
Because I was at several Nova shows, obviously, and I would sit and watch pieces of the band. And watching Matty play, there was a transformation between the guy that's walking around talking to people and, I mean, almost the robot that he wanted to turn into behind the drums and just tune everything else out and play as hard and as crisp as he you know, I mean, his eyes were as big as saucers behind the drums because he was just, I mean, it was right there. It was like a buffet. He was going to finish it all.
Well, we had kind of agreed behind the scenes that, you know, Matty is the quarterback, you know, and even when he's wrong, he's right, and that's what we switched to, you know. And the pressure only doubled once Jake was gone because, I mean, now everything was built around a sampler. So he had to, like, start the sample count, click himself in, essentially, click us in, you know. There's a lot of Peyton Manning stuff going on at the line, you know, like calling the audibles here and there, and things go wrong with electronics. The more shit you mix in, you know.
Fire the wrong button and everybody in the band turns around.
Yo, hey, you know, for sure. Or it's off of one beat, throws the whole thing off. I mean, we put a lot of pressure on Matt to run things and be super crisp. And then I really pushed for the old Phoenix Suns thing of 7 seconds or less. You know, they used to have the thing where, you know, in a 24-second shot clock, they would run up and try and get one shot off within 7 seconds. They were just going to push offense-wise. Well, I wanted to make sure we had very little lag time in between songs. That wasn't on purpose. If there was a purpose break to talk about merch or the show or the other bands, whatever.
But otherwise,
in
your little 3-song sets that you built.
Right. Yes.
It was go, 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 those three, and then there's a talk break, and then go, 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 and
precisely.
Then there's a talk break.
But the other ones have to be 7 seconds or less, and that's tough, especially when you need to line up with 5 dudes, and there's samples, and you know, different people start different songs, and I might need to check something real quick. It's tricky, and we put all that on Matt, and he handled it really well, and we practiced a lot to get it right, and there were whole nights where we didn't, you know, 2-hour practices where we didn't play an entire 3-minute song. We just did the last 10 seconds of this song to a 5-second turnover to the first 20 seconds of the next song, and then did it again and again and again, and just tried to switch from one to the next. And we spent a lot of time working on transitions and stuff, so there was a lot put on Matt more than just playing the beat, you know. I mean, he was very instrumental as to what was going up there in terms of the live performance, for sure.
Yeah, I was always a very big proponent and big fan of Matt and what he had going on.
Yeah. And he was he was a special character on show day too. I got a lot of different people that would bitched that Maddie wasn't his normal self or wasn't too friendly, or had kind of blown them off even at times. And it's like, he's in the zone right now. You
Yeah,
know, like, but he was different than the rest of us in that, you know, like the rest of us would kind of schmooze or then eventually disappear and go backstage or whatever, or would schmooze right up to the end and then be like, oh, we're on, I gotta go, kind of thing, you know. But Matt would lock in and just zone everyone out and just be thinking about the drums and the spacing and how does this beat start.
Mapping
and, like,
everything.
I'd see him down there in the practice room doing his hands on different things, you know, and he was a different animal on show days. It's kind of funny. Everyone's got their own prep that they do.
Well, because on non-show times when he's just out and about, he's just such a happy-go-lucky, you know, goofball.
Smirk on his face the whole time, super casual. Can't wait to slide in a That's What She Said or whatever, and he's a hilarious guy to be around.
And then he just turns into that machine that is ready to go.
On Showtime, he's different. So.
I guess the big question, and I don't know if you've been asked or not, or if it's been discussed publicly, what happens to the material?
I don't know. I've heard different things.
Can you play it?
I don't know. You know, we need to figure it out. And we've been talking about we need to figure it out for quite some time. Because I've actually been approached by someone who wanted to purchase some of the songs, and we were like, how do we do that? You know, like, I'd like
Who
to do
owns
that.
the songs?
They belong to Novus Folium LLC.
Which is all of you.
Right. Which at the moment is the four of us. Matt, myself, Aaron, and Van.
Okay, so John has no ownership stake?
No.
He signed away all rights to all material.
As
but
part
the
of
trade-off
breakup
was...
of the LLC, you know, he became not part of that anymore, right?
But the trade-off was that in January you can no longer function as Novus Folium.
Right, so
the songs are just out there in limbo.
There's some question as what we can do with them, because, I mean, if we have undeniable rights to everything for the next 3 months, then what I would say is sell it all. If we're either going to sell it to people that want the songs individually, or sell it to me, you know, sell it to be Normus. You know, I'll keep the songs.
Right.
And we'll just keep them as safekeeping should if something ever work out again in the future, or should we ever decide to re-release something, or, you know, I don't know, do a Campfire Does Novus record, you know, where we do it all differently, acoustic or something crazy. I don't know. That was definitely a thought that we still have not gotten straightened out.
Because
are we able to sell to a buddy company kind of thing like that? Is that even possible? Do they just...
Could Trevor Rock's Denver LLC purchase the Novus Folium catalog?
Right. Like, can we just drop paperwork
and sell it to me, and then I could then give rights to people to play the songs or use the songs,
right,
while I maintain the ownership of?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, because obviously the question that runs through my mind is you can't function as Novus Folium after January whatever.
Right, it's done.
That's done. But could you then... Could Campfire Vendetta do an electric show and play the Novus catalog?
I think if we do nothing, then the songs, I would almost assume, just fall into public domain, where you can just kind of...
Anyone can play them?
Right, and so, which means like you could hear somebody next month with Nights on Fire as their big radio hit, you know, first thing in February. And obviously that's... I'd rather prevent that, not because I'm trying to cock block someone else, but if it's our
it's also
song,
your song,
you know, like that's different, you know. I mean, Aaron wrote the bulk of the material, you know. I mean, like all of it musically for the most part. So, you know, I'd like him to have a big say with it. You know, I feel bad for John in a way in terms of losing the lyrics and stuff.
Now, rightfully, could in January when this all comes, it's done, and Novus Folium LLC no longer exists, and there's a catalog of music. Couldn't John form a band?
That's another thought.
And sing
like,
those songs?
Can he, are they public domain and they can just play them and kind of claim rights to them kind of thing? Can they purchase them?
Do you have them copywritten individually?
I believe, what do we have? The first EP.
Because you can have an umbrella of copyright of songs.
I believe that's what it is, because you can do up to like 20 at a time.
Right, but...
And we have the first EP and War Games are both copyrighted.
But you also need to go back through and copyright each individual song and its parts, because then if you copyright the individual song and its parts, each maker of a part can have a copyright claim to the royalties of that piece of the song.
Yeah.
So, like, Aaron could have the royalties over the music, the melody, the guitar, John could have copyright of the lyrics. So if anyone uses it in anything that is of value, those people could still get paid.
Yeah.
But under that under the umbrella copyright, you could still lose those songs.
It's so...
It's very tricky.
It's very tricky. It's very shady. Like, it costs a band a lot of money to own your own shit.
Right.
Which is bizarre. But, and it's tough to protect those things. And there's limitations. They only last for X amount of years. You got to re-up it.
Right.
It's not like you own it forever. You know, it's, there's a lot of ins and outs that, frankly, I don't know. And I mean, we could spend another 15 grand, paying for new copyrights, getting it all sorted out, and then paying the lawyers to sort it out and figure out how it works and explain it to us. And
at the same time, there could be this dickhead sitting out there waiting, watching the copyrights.
that does know what they're doing, that knows the loopholes, and, puts out Nights on Fire as this
Right.
big February hit and whatever, and blows up, and because he knows the loopholes, he knows how to do it. I mean, it's unbelievable the kind of money. I mean, that's a huge thing that a major label does for you, is they have those dudes
Right,
all
that's where it
day
locks it in,
long.
right.
Of
course, they own you.
Right, and they know how to do that too.
Right.
That's part of it. But yeah, to be honest, it's way over my head. Because I mean, I've only been in this at a local level. I mean, so this is a mess of serious proportions. I mean, there's just so much. I don't want to call it apathy, but it's like, I know we don't want to mess with it very much. I mean, it's, for me personally.
Well,
I mean,
it doesn't make you joyous.
No.
To know that you have to figure out how to dismantle something that you built.
Right. No, for sure. And I mean, for me personally, like, I didn't write those lyrics and I didn't write those riffs for 95% of that material. So it's like, it's a little easier
Right.
for me to go, well, that sucks. We don't own it anymore,
yeah.
I could definitely see being much more up in arms if I was John or Aaron, for sure, and be trying to figure out how to either jump on it as soon as they become available in John's case, or how to protect it if I'm Aaron or whatnot.
Right.
I really don't know the ins and outs of it, but for me, I've been a little bit more like, it sucks that that's going to go
Aaron,
away.
you should probably do something.
Yeah,
with
you
it.
should care, but, if I could...
Right. I mean, you don't have a lot of right to the songs.
Me personally, no.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing with Maddie. He doesn't have a lot of right to the songs.
Right.
I mean, he could apply for
we could
a
all play to be
copyright for the
1/5
drummers.
of something.
Yeah.
or a
Well,
slice.
yeah.
It wouldn't even be a fifth because
No.
slices of things. But
Sure. I mean, he could write. Like Maddie could copyright for the drum piece of the songs because they were performed by him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the studio recording. That is the version that is out there. And then if anyone used it or played it, he could then have legal recourse. Much smaller percentage than the riffs, than the...
We're talking about fractions upon fractions of a song that's not famous. You know? So it's like, but if I skip the thousands of dollars of paperwork and bills and time spent on it, am I going to miss out on the $4 I'm going to collect in royalties from iTunes next year?
Or the fact that if Nights on Fire, huge song, perfect radio song, written for the radio, right?
That's what we did for you.
I mean, you wrote it for the radio. You wrote it to make a song that would get rotation.
Literally with Capitol Records in the building.
Yeah. How shitty would it be to say, you know what, fuck it, this is too much, we walked away from the project, we've got everything out of the project we were going to get, and then in June, you hear Nickelback.
Yeah. No, it'd be frustrating. I mean... but
someone just picked it up and sends it around, and there's $1 million song that...
Right. It'd be a mixed bag, man. It'd be a mixed bag for sure, I think.
At one point, you could go, we did that.
Because part of me can still go, who wrote that, right?
Yeah.
And be like, whose song that is, and I would know, and our fans would know, and more importantly than anything, I would know.
Right.
Who was in the room when we put all that together, but at the same time, yeah, you'd feel like you missed out a little bit, but I think we'd be all right with that.
What do you think is the best case scenario? What do you think would be, I mean, ultimate right?
Man, I'd like to see all of us, the original 5, figure out a way to put all the songs in a locked vault somewhere until the 5 of us and the 5 of us only all agree that we're going to play them again, you know? That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see it be locked up forever where, you know, it's, you know, and if they never come out of that vault, then they never come out of that vault, but no one else uses it. They don't become public domain. They don't get split up where we sold a couple of the songs and we only have these ones now. You know, I'd like to put our whole catalog in a box kind of thing and bury it until the 5 of us can agree that we'd like to do it again.
Walk in a room and...
Yeah, that's
now,
what I like.
On a similar line, but completely different, would you also be okay with all 5 of you having equal right to play those songs?
Yeah, I think that affects everyone in a positive way. I mean, that's kind of where...
If those of you that walk away from music walk away and never use...
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure that John Lee would love to sing Nights on Fire on stage.
Yeah. No, and he, you know, he should have a bit of a right to some extent, you know? Like, I mean, obviously that's maybe not what we agreed upon on whatever, but
those are his words.
In terms of him writing those words,
yeah,
absolutely, you know? So I like the idea of that, you know, he could be over at... you know, one side of town playing it with a new crew, and I could be playing it acoustic at my show. On the other
even
side
if you
of town.
Completely rearrange it.
Yeah, you know,
if you all have
totally
equal
different.
rights to play and record those songs.
I would be all right with that. I think that's pretty cool. I think that reflects well upon all of us, you know, like, because that's where ultimately you just want to kind of, when I play those songs, and I don't really, but whenever we mess around with it, it's like, it's just to kind of pay tribute to what we did for a minute there, you know, like, because, you know, as bad as it ended, I'm still proud of what we accomplished in a very short period of time, and the stuff we came up with together and the times we had. So I like to think about it from time to time, and then I think it's cool for the overlap of fans, you know, fans of Campfire that would not have been if it wasn't for Novus. Like, it's kind of cool for them too.
Right.
So
I mean, let's be realistic. There are old fans that were Novus fans that are no longer Novus fans because they were also big John Lee supporters and fans.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that won't go see a project that John Lee's in because they feel like he wronged Novus Folium.
Sure.
There are new fans, obviously, that have come in the interim that are like, I don't know, I just like these guys, so I'm going to go see them.
There's Tony's friends that are checking it out.
Yeah.
More seriously than they probably did.
Sure, the Nemesis people that have seen it before, but now are seeing it through different eyes because Tony's out front. Man, you know, as much as obviously we all know that I don't think highly of John. It's hard for me. I mean, and my opinion really doesn't matter in all of this. I have no stake in any of it. I think the best possible outcome that I could think of completely from the outside, even not really being a fan of his and being friends with the rest of you, you know, pretty good friends, I would say, with the rest of you, would be that all 5 of you have the ability to do them.
Yeah.
Because the kid does have a voice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like both of those scenarios where either
everybody can or nobody can.
Yeah, right.
All of us, but at least
it
one
should
of
only
us.
Be us.
But at least one of us has to be in the group of people playing the song.
It should only be us.
Right.
There shouldn't be someone else playing our songs down 6 months from now.
Yeah.
You know? Unless it's one of our other kind of spin-offs kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's all fair game. Like you said, I like that scenario as well. So yeah, I'd go for either one of those. So, I mean, none of these things have even really been, well, nothing's been discussed.
It's getting a little bit close to the end of the
well, you know how Novus is. We'll
Right.
call the lawyer on the 5th of January and say, hey, so how do we do this breakup thing that happens now? And that's kind of how we've always operated. But, yeah, in the meanwhile, it's just about throwing a few more great shows, trying to recoup a little bit more of the funds. I mean, we've got a lot of merch that probably isn't going anywhere that I'd be happy to donate to the Paul's Flood cause for sure. And it's a good, you know, Longmont's been really good to us, so I always like to help out when we can, so that'd be good. Yeah, and then just kind of closing up shop, which seems like it's going to drag on even a little bit longer to figure it out. But
How is the debt gone?
not
Have you
nearly
made
as well
dents
as I'd
in
hoped.
it?
Dents, but small dents. I mean, it's still a big number, but there's also still some significant assets. I mean, the van's a $2,000 piece of equipment that needs to go. There's probably some musical equipment that can go. But ultimately, we'll
Some
still
of the
all
gear
have
will
a lot
stay.
of liability.
Some of the gear will stay for the label, I'm sure.
Yeah, some of it'll probably end up getting left around for sure. And we're just trying to piecemeal things and get rid of stuff, what we can. And we've been having raffles and things like that that's helped. Our fans have helped a lot with that. And a lot of the bands we've played with in the last year have been cool enough to, give us a shirt or CD to put towards the raffle kind of thing. So hopefully
Right.
it introduces our fan base to them because, the best thing that can happen for some of these young bands is they find a fan base like we had. They were just rabid.
Right.
I mean, we had crazy.
If you could even just give your fan base to somebody.
Oh man, we could settle the debt. I'll sell you our fan
Right.
base, and we'll call it even. But because they were crazy.
Well, because I mean, obviously a band that you work with, who I think the sound is familiar and common enough, would be like a Resonance playing with you guys. Your fans could easily transfer.
I think so. I think
and
they could definitely
become-
get into that band.
They're
They're also like really positive, like good dudes.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge factor. I mean, the Novus kids generally are just fun kids to be around.
Yeah.
And like we did a lot of charity stuff. A lot of people really took to John's outspoken nature about kind of the more religious stuff that he was into, whether you agree or disagree, we all kind of stayed out of that a little bit more. But, there's definitely a lot of people who resonated to us because of that. Just having that kind of positive mentality, like an outgoing thing, like especially like a front man like Danny has, like he could definitely help with that for sure. And a lot of it's being a hardworking group, and they could definitely have that. Now it's just a matter of kind of right place, right time, for them is what I would say. I mean, they definitely have all the potential in the world. It was definitely a reason why Van and I brought them in as the first non-Benormous act to record at the studio.
Right.
Just because it was like, wow, there's a lot of potential here, and these kids can play, and they, we probably see a little bit of ourselves in them for sure. Except they can actually really play. Everybody's nasty.
Those guys can
that
get
Jason
down.
kid plays circles around me on bass. He's unbelievable. So
And he looks a lot like Taylor Swift.
I'm sure he greatly appreciates it, saying that.
We have a couple common friends in the chat today.
Oh, yeah?
Paul from Blind Strikes in.
Oh yeah.
And my friend, who I think you guys should get together on a show with Campfire, Brent Bolin, who is from a band called Water Tower.
The Water Tower.
Now, his dad was the teacher in Lyons that had gone missing in the floods.
Okay.
He taught in Lyons for 30 years, and they found his body last week. He died in the flood at 80 years old. You have a gig on Saturday, right? Water Tower has a gig at Gennaro's on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And I will be taking the stage with Water Tower.
Cool.
Do you want to know what I'm going to do?
I want to know.
Here it comes.
Oh boy.
We're going to do a smash up, and they are playing a song, and then I am going to come in and do a little bit of this.
Let's do this.
Do you remember this?
Colors.
Yeah.
Colors. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking. King of my jungle, just a gangster stalking, living life like a firecracker. Quick as my
Ice-T.
fuse, been dead as a death. Back the colors. I
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm going to come in and spit a verse with them on stage at Gennaro's this weekend,
Right on.
and that's going to be a really good time. I've been waiting to pull one of those off for a while.
Do you know that I just agreed to do some stuff with them as well in the future now too, in all my free time?
Who?
Gennaro's. I'm gonna be
What are you going to do?
I-
You're going to make the pizza too?
right.
I'm going
No,
to book a show while I'm making the pizzas?
Every other Tuesday, I'm hosting an open mic night, and they've been doing a Tuesday night open mic, and there's another kid as well who's gonna do every other week. So, but yeah,
How's that fit in your practice schedule?
the only one who practices Tuesday is Lost Point, and it's not every week. So And the glory of it is I told him right up front, you better get an alternate if you want me to be the guy, because I need to coordinate with somebody else when I can't do that Tuesday. But as long as I haven't met the other guy yet, but as long as we can kind of flip-flop weeks, when necessary. I mean, no one has shows on Tuesdays or anything like that, so
Right.
Tuesdays is a pretty open day. So I'm just trying
You
to
need to
lock up
get,
the last 3 hours
you need
of
to
my
get
work week.
our friend Joe Holderby in there and make him fucking play.
Dude, I can't get him to call me back or anything. Nothing. Or every time I call him, he's like, "Oh, I'm busy being a nurse."
Hang on.
I'm always trying to get him to jam and do B Norma shows and things, and he's always like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I pissed him off or what happened."
We'll find out.
Calling him now.
Yeah.
All right. Let's figure this out.
You know me.
I would love to have him come down on these Tuesdays, because I don't, I'm sure he's a great nurse, but he's a better singer-songwriter.
He's a great singer-songwriter who needs to just find that confidence again.
I'm trying so hard to put him on B-Normus things, but also, in defense, B-Normus hasn't done a ton lately.
Well, you've been a little bit busy.
We got one showcase, Honey Tree Whiskey CD.
Hello, my friend.
I'm looking for Nurse Joe Holderby.
That would be me, man.
What are you doing, brother?
Just packing.
Packing? Fudge?
Packing and moving.
Where are you moving to?
Moving back to Longmont, find a job, moving out of state. I know. Nobody's happy about it.
So I'm
Not me.
sitting here in studio with our good friend Davey B.
What is up, my friend Dave?
Hey, buddy.
And we were having a conversation about you, and the conversation ended with the fact that you refuse to ever call him back or get on any shows that he's invited you to, and you won't get the guitar out because you think you're better than him.
That is no. I say he's busy nursing, man. He can't can't commit to shit.
That's totally true. That's totally how it is. No. Come on, Davey.
How come you haven't played any shows with him? And every time I talk to you, you're like, yeah, I need to get out and play some more. I need to play.
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly.
I was working on getting everything done with school. Now that I've graduated, I'm up for it.
Yeah? You back in the... I start
It's
calling you for
around
shows
the corner.
again?
I've just been packing up and moving this week.
So what's the deal? You're going back to Longmont? You say something about leaving state, though?
Might be, depending on where I get a job at, but I'd like to stick around.
All right. Do you have a time frame?
I don't.
Till his mom kicks him out.
I'm going to start fishing. Just start sending resumes out.
All right.
Well,
one hit.
next
I
time,
either stay or I go.
next time Davey calls and you don't play a show, I'm gonna put up the naked pictures of you.
Not the naked one.
Yeah, it was cold that day too.
Man.
Remember?
Well, they wouldn't be flattering anyway.
No. So I need your word that next time Davey calls, you're gonna do everything you can to play one of the B Norma shows.
Hell yeah.
You think you'll be around still in like November, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking
As long as
to
it's not
Chris
November
about
2nd,
something.
we're good.
Okay. I'm going to give Chris Thomas a ring and see if we can get down there at Herman's for a showcase sometime in November. So I'll give you a ring if you think you'll be around.
That'd be killer. I'm ready to go.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that.
All right. Well,
Hey Joe,
yeah, what's going on?
what has 8 inches and goes click? He's
That's
gone.
all right.
Yeah. So now he's on the hook.
Well, I'm glad we straightened that out.
Yeah, now he's on the hook.
That's funny.
If he doesn't jump on the show, the next show that you call him for, it's
I
on.
can call you and you'll straighten it out.
Oh, it's on.
No, that's good. I'd love to have Joe back in the fold, man.
Hey,
because-
you know what? The kid is a writing machine. He has like 50 songs in his notebook.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know there
Written.
was that much material.
Yeah. That he doesn't even play.
I think he's down on his guitar playing, I think is what it is. Is where the lack of confidence
I
was,
know
is
that he
what
does-
Van was telling me when he came in to record with us a couple songs.
He gets bummed out. Hang on one
But
second.
it's not bad for one, and
No,
two.
he's not a bad guitar player.
And
at
two,
all.
like, he's just driving the song. People want to hear his voice,
Yeah.
and like the way he sings.
Hang on, I might. if I can find it. Do 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 do. I have this hard drive sitting in front of me, and in this hard drive is a lot of old music. If I can find it, I will. Where would I have it? Where would I have it? Man, I'm going to get bummed out. Hang on. Just hang on. I said just hang on, all right?
I'm over here hanging.
I'm trying to find... This is a little piece of Joe Holderby. This was recorded with Van early before B. Normus got fully
before it seemed
together.
like a thing.
Yeah. This is one of Joe Holderby's songs. I don't know if you guys that are listening have ever heard Joe, but he's a nurse now, little fucker. You know what? I like this song better. Hang on.
What is love? Is it just something I feel? Or is it more than what I thought was in store?
I mean, that's just like, you just hear two lines from the kid and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
What is left that I've left to fight for? I give it all my all, and I'm spent just passing time while I'm wanting more.
I love pairing him with Bobby Doran,
What is
too.
love if it's not everything? Is it love?
I'd like to hear them play
Never
together.
be sure.
On the same songs. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do. You only hear what you want to. Now you pushed me out the door. You want me to give you more.
This right here is the biggest part.
I'm broken glass in the sand, just a sparkle between the grains. Scattered pieces everywhere that can never be whole again. And there's still a part of you there, a memory I hold on to. And I still hold those pieces of you. You held my heart so close to your own. The illusion was so unreal. When that last stitch of fate was sewn, letting go wasn't such a big deal. The best thing about giving your all is that nothing is left to share. The only loss that I feel without you is knowing now love was never there. And I don't know what to do. You only hear what you want to. Now you pushed me out the door. You want me to give you more. And I'm broken glass in the sand.
The kid can just
sparkle
kill words.
the grains.
It's very simple, yet
Scattered
he puts
pieces
more
everywhere.
words in a phrase than you naturally think could go there, but every word is necessary.
Yeah. Oh, he does a great
Yeah,
job.
I dig the shit out of him. He's got, I might have, honestly, I might have the only recorded tracks of him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they even exist anywhere else, because back at that time I was taking care of all of his stuff.
Yeah. And come to think of it, we had an issue with Van's computer crashing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if we even have the tracking of it anymore.
Yeah.
It's possible that we don't. I might be misspoken on that, but
Yeah,
no,
I have all of the original recordings.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I don't know if we can do this. I know we're running up against the clock, but I came bearing gifts today.
You did.
I have a brand new Lost Point EP.
And
just
I
came out September 13th.
loaded it in the computer just
All right.
for said time. What's the one we want to spin?
I think we'll probably want to spin either I Am or Between Foe. I think as a punk guy, you'll like I Am a lot.
Okay. This is Lost Point. You can catch them in the Battle of the Bands here at Cheers starting October the 4th. The finals will be December 27th, that weekend between Christmas and New Year's.
Okay.
Which is a really cool weekend because everybody can get out.
Yeah.
It's that lull between obligations.
Well, I'm hoping to be right here.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really good time. Lost Point is obviously huge in the Denver scene. They've been around a long time. They've paid their dues. They've done what they've needed to do. They recently brought in Davey B to fill the vacant bass position, and I think it's going to go well for you. Here is I Am from Lost Point.
goosebumps, man, on those ending
Yeah.
harmonies and stuff.
Well, it's definitely prototypical Lost Point, but it's got a little bit of that punk flavor to it.
Yeah,
which is
especially
nice.
in the beginning, like
Yeah.
super.
Yeah, because Lost Point, you guys are straightforward rock and roll.
Mhm.
You can't mix it up. You're not metal. You're straightforward rock and roll.
Some good old hard rock.
Yeah, but I like that. I like that little bit of something in there.
Yeah. It's
Different.
cool. They're doing some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
When you get them and listen to Kalispell, it's a different vibe for them. It's a dirty, like, slow groove kind of thing that they've done. They're branching out a little bit. They're doing some interesting stuff. They're still keeping by the Lost Point playbook, but there's
Yeah.
some new wrinkles in there that are very exciting. So.
Brendan grew his hair.
Yeah, man.
He's got
Yeah,
long hair
Long
again.
hair now.
Yeah.
We look crazy on stage now. Wait
Every
till
time,
those breakdowns
I don't
come
know
around.
why. Every time I've seen him, it seems like his hair has been like
Yeah,
bob
he was
length.
that guy forever.
Yeah, he was kinda
Or he'd
clean.
be wearing like a what am I looking for? A beanie or something
Yeah.
like that. But now, yeah, he's got longer hair than me almost just about.
Yeah.
We all have really long hair all of a sudden. So it looks
You finally
fun.
got the long hair back.
Yeah, I had chopped it after the tour. I was like, that's it.
Yeah, you went like
I'm pissed now.
yuppie style or something for a little bit.
I know, it's just no fun, you know. And then eventually this becomes less fun too at times, you know, but it's just like, as soon as I'm back on stage, I'm like, oh.
This is why I have it.
I needed this. So.
Well, we have burned through 2 hours.
Yes, we have.
That was quick.
I know, right?
Yeah, goes fast. Smalls, anything to add?
Nothing, no.
Just want to make sure. We do have to thank our sponsors today. We got to thank Dave Scholl at Lucky 13 Tattoo. It's 1550 Kipling Street. That is the northeast corner of Kipling and Colfax. Dave Scholl, Lucky 13 Tattoo. If you mention Trevor O'Connor, Trevor Rocks Denver, Unfiltered and Unaffected, any combination of those things, 25% off your next tattoo there with Dave.
Huh.
Which is a great deal.
I gotta see
25%
that
off
guy
Angels.
anyway. He does some good work, man.
Yeah, he does.
I've been trying to get some stuff done, so.
Also, Andy Conto and Easy Street Discount Custom Designs. If you're needing any vinyl stickers, he does all my vinyl cut sticker stuff. He did my Batcave sticker up on the door. He does the unfiltered stickers that we have on our cars. He does all that. He made my, check these out. He and his wife made us staff lanyards.
Yeah.
Finally, how long did we talk about these before?
Lanyards change the world.
They make you so much more important.
Everyone instantly thinks you're way cooler.
Yeah, so they made those and shipped them out to us. He does a bunch of the graphic stuff that I put up.
Okay.
Little segments and bits we do. He usually makes up a graphics and sends it over to me. So if you're looking for any graphic stuff on top of it, printing needs, I know that he and his wife are able to do banners like these.
Oh, yeah?
Ridiculous cheap.
Huh.
I don't know the exact pricing, but yeah, check them out.
Cool.
Great pricing there. She has the coolest business cards in the world. They're like they're plastic and they're see-through.
Huh.
So they're translucent, but you can the print is in there.
Huh.
They're cool.
Right on.
They make good ice scrapers. They're good for scraping things. Also, Verve Energy Drink. It's a healthy alternative to energy drinks. They have 9 essential vitamins and minerals in place of the filler that other energy drinks use for flavor. Check them out. There's a clickable link right below the chat box on the website. Click on that. You can learn more about Verve. You can also order right there from their website. Mad Mouse Computers out of Fort Collins. Josh and the boys at Mad Mouse, they're the boys that built my website, and they maintain it and keep the video streaming and everything clean.
Oh, it's a good-looking site.
Yeah, really good guys over there. Of course, at Cheers, the official music venue of Trevor Rocks Denver.
Love at Cheers.
This is my home. And my boy Greg Neal at Dangerous Art. If you want to see some really cool shit, go to dangerous-art.com. He's the guy that built Robot.
I was looking at that.
Yeah, he built Robot. He built that lamp for me right over in front of you on this side. And it changes colors. It also will strobe to the music if you have it on that setting.
Huh.
So it'll pick up the kick, and the colors will change to the kick.
That's sweet.
Yeah, he did this piece.
Huh.
Right here. Dangerous-art.com. You can also find him if you just search Dangerous Arts on Facebook.
Cool.
Really cool stuff. He does ridiculous cool like aspen trees. He makes them out of like that bent stainless steel. And then he hand cuts aspen leaves and then torches them for color and then welds a stem on, and then the stem welds onto individual branches.
Wow.
It's insane. His work is crazy.
Huh.
Did you see on Facebook the Maris the Great figurine that I had up a couple weeks ago?
No.
I got killed by Maris.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen the pictures yet either.
He built me a Maris figurine out of steel.
Huh.
It's sick.
Cool.
Anyway, go to his website. It's dangerous-art.com.
All right.
And if you're looking for a music video, go see my boy Phil at eFilth Productions.
Oh, yeah. Love Phil. He did the two Novus videos. And he did
Lost
Points.
Points, Hollywood Girl.
Yeah, he did
Yep.
Hollywood Girl years before I even joined.
And that Phil is not a paid sponsor. He's a friend of mine that I fully believe in and endorse. So if that says anything, he doesn't hand any money across.
Yeah.
And I still say go see him no matter what.
Yeah.
So eFilth Productions, find him on Facebook. Great stuff over there. That, my friends, is pretty much the end of the show.
Well, thanks for having me, brother. Always great to check in with you.
Yeah, thanks for coming down. It was a good time.
Love to. Yeah.
Whenever you have days off, let me know. The co-host seat's pretty open.
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind.
All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Right on. Take care, y'all.
Bye. Bye. We're done. Bye. Why are you still there? Bye.
Beat it.
Go to work. Bye.